All right, hey guys, my name is Tristan. I think we've already been introduced, but I'm based in Portland, Oregon. I'm a field solution architect with Pure Storage, but I'm also a vExpert, and I run the VM user group in Portland, Oregon, where I live. So I always like to submit session ideas for VMware Explorer, and sometimes I come up with an idea, a concept, a project that isn't built yet, but I build it between the time that I schedule my flights and I arrive here in Vegas. So what I did was I came up with a very simple PowerCLI based method to rather elegantly provide a very simple user interface to assign SPBM policies, vVols policies based on virtual machine tag. So what I'll do is I'll walk through kind of the ideation. I'll do a level set on vVols for people that are not familiar with vVols, and then I'll show you the script in action. So virtual volumes really are a well-orchestrated architecture similar to RDMs, but with a policy engine in vCenter that help tie everything together. There's a lot of performance and capacity benefits of virtual volumes, but one of the biggest benefits is just the built-in policy administration, where you can advertise capabilities, advertise policies, and assign those policies based on very simple rule sets that are enforced by the policy engine within vCenter. So the SPBM policy engine lives within vCenter, and it's actually interacting with the registered VOSA providers to not only search for advertised services, but then actually place workloads and enforce placement of workloads on the appropriate storage with the appropriate set of capabilities based on what you configure. I've got a peer array listed there, but this will work with any vVols storage platform. So the reason to target with tags really is it's sometimes difficult in a large environment to right-click a folder of VMs, assign a machine policy, assign a replication policy en masse. Sometimes it's easier to do it as code, especially if you're new to vVols and you want to take hundreds of VMs and assign policies consistently. You might have a gold service tag, or you might have a service tag that describes the production status of a workload already. Or you might have something in your CMDB that you can port over as a virtual machine tag, and then you could use that for the basis of the targeting. This is a consistent, easy way to move to vVols in production. You can go with a no vVols policy. You can actually operate vVols with no storage policy whatsoever. That's called a no vVols policy. But what most customers do is they create kind of a three-tier approach, tier 0, tier 1, tier 2, or maybe a gold, silver, bronze, that dictates how often we snapshot, how often we replicate. Maybe we set a quality of service upper limit at the vDisk level. Because normally a quality of service, at least with Pure, we set at the data store level. If we could do that at the disk level, it actually gives us a little bit of performance fencing. Make sure that we don't have a noisy neighbor overrun a particular array. Tags are kind of a way that you can manage lots of different things, including SPBM policy. So I talk to customers about building a tagging taxonomy. What does the tag associate, or what is the tag associated with? Does gold mean higher availability, higher performance, encryption or non-encryption? So all these services you can tie conceptually to that, that tagging construct. I believe in storyboarding. Before I automate, before I actually sit down at a keyboard, at a console. And so this is kind of the ideation of my particular approach in breaking this problem down. I want a PowerShell, basically script to log me into vCenter, present a list of production tags, possibly list a couple of VMs that are assigned that tag, and then based on a user interaction, actually apply a particular tag to those VMs. So very simple UI, very rudimentary. And I gave an automation talk earlier this week where I talked about how I storyboard and how I come up with these ideas. I could have used something other than PowerPoint to come up with this method. In this case, I just came up with a very simple flow diagram of this is what I want to build in PowerShell. The next process, I don't really have a slide for, but I go out and I find script libraries where I have code segments that do the individual things that I need done, like the commonly executed connect to a VI server, or get virtual machine tag. I go steal all y'all's code, and I take some of the good stuff, and I add it to my code. And sometimes I take out the bad stuff, and sometimes I even go on GitHub and provide a comment, and I say, hey, I've seen a flaw with some of your code. So let me shut the slides down here. If anybody goes through PowerPoint withdrawals, please let me know. This code I will put out on GitHub, and if you contact me after the talk, I'll actually map things out. But a very simple connect interactively, entering the password, not storing the password in the script in plain text or encrypted. I connect to vCenter. I go out and I get virtual machine objects that have a particular tag. I create an array, and then I loop through the array applying policy. And the policy is governing the snapshot schedule and the replication schedule. Very, very simple mechanics. And here's the script in action. So you can always spot a peer customer or a peer environment because there's usually a giant orange logo there at the bottom in plugins. So we'll hopefully have this script render. I think that's running. Oh my goodness, I'm not sure what's going on with my... Wow, talk about a failure to launch. There we go. So here's my Vegas Baby folder. I got some production VMs. They happen to have some tags assigned to them. I could right-click and assign a policy in the UI here, but we've got a service tag. We've got an SPBM policy that is kind of aligned with the service tag by name, in this case, gold. So here's my policies. Search for gold. You can see I have a lot of gold policies in my demo environment. I have 18 systems and lots of demos that I run here every day. Here's all the policies that I'm getting, my snapshot schedule, my replication target. I could be fanning out my replicated VMs out to multiple sites for data protection purposes. The script logs into vCenter. I don't want you guys to see my username or password, obviously. So I'm connected to my lab. I provide the user a choice. Do you want to do gold, silver, or bronze? In this case, I choose the gold policy. It goes out and finds the machine tags with that name, gives me a list. And then it basically executes the policy assignment, and then it wraps up. It's simple, it's dumb, but it's elegant. And at scale, this could be applied to not 4 servers, but it could be 400 or 4,000 servers. So this, to me, is a time saver. Notice that the data disks and the config disks are all being targeted. Because remember, these are simple VMs. They have one virtual disk and one config vVol, and both of those are getting the same policy. I could make this script a little bit more complicated and provide a different policy for the config vVol and the data vVol, or I could apply a different policy to all the individual disks. So your mileage may vary, may cause dry mouth. Please stay hydrated. Anyway, policies applied. If we actually go onto the peer array on the back end, we can verify that all the vVols, individual vVols and the volume groups are applied the tag. That is pretty much it. That is my demo. Are there any questions? I think I'm right at time. Pretty close. Any questions?